It has clearly become a reality that government does not have the capacity to protect all of us. And we cannot sit down and allow people to kill us every day because we're waiting for government. A lot of communities where there's been crisis, there are insiders, there are people working with these criminals. And so what is our own responsibility as citizens? And as you travel the length and breadth of this country today, I tell you that every community have community neighborhood. In terms of guard, in terms of hunters, in terms of mbanga, in terms of neighborhood vigilante and all of this.
The spate of insecurity in Nigeria has remained unabated as news of crimes and criminality has continued to flood the news on a daily basis. Just recently, there was a massacre in Katsina State where the death toll has risen over 50 and still counting. And Plateau is still in the news where several communities, according to reports, are still being occupied by bandits, and and some family members were also killed recently, and with no exception to other parts of the country. But we're just trying to narrow it down to where it's more prevalent. And recently in Kaduna State as well, in Benigwari precisely, a family of 4 was also killed. And so we are here today to look at the spate of insecurity across the country in Nigeria, with no exception to the northern part of the country.
Civil societies in recent times are stepping into the fight against insecurity, holding government accountable, exposing abuses, and pushing for reforms. But the question still remains, are they making impact? This is Third Eye Africa TV, and the program is Crime Watch. On this episode of Crime Watch, we'll be looking at a very impactful topic. We'll be looking at the role of civil societies in the fight against insecurity. My name is Margaret Adewale, and this is Third Eye Africa TV, your crime, security, and investigative channel. Thank you for joining us.
And my name is Charles Agedo. We'll go on a short break. Then when we come back, we'll introduce our guest on today's program and delve into the issue of the day properly. Stay with us.
I report. Have you ever witnessed a crime or suspicious activity around you? Don't stay silent. Take action. You can now report crimes easily by sending videos to us on I Report. Record a video and a brief narration of the incident with the location and send to 0701 372 8007 on WhatsApp only. Your action could help save a life or stop a crime in progress. Stay alert, stay safe, be the voice, take a stand. I Report, only on Third Eye Africa.
It's a very good idea. I believe even in other countries, this thing has been taught. It has been taught from school, from primary school. You have to learn how to defend yourself in case of incasity. Apart from that, act wisely is good because it's also part of a physical exercise. Before you know, you'll be able to move. It's not that you just be like that without, you will not be able to defend all those little skills. So many things we should have escaped from if we know all these skills. So it is better, let's start learning it. Anything the government have to put in place for us to get it done, let it be vetted.
To learn skills is not possible for a civilian to learn skills. So we can't defend ourselves. We can't fight the the bandits and insurgents. We can't fight them. It's only the government security that can help us and fight those people. We civilians can't fight these people. There is no way. There is no any magic we can fight them.
I think it's a good suggestion for him to say that. But I think to other persons might not be a good suggestion. But I knew that what have disadvantage will also have advantage. Yes, I'm saying this in respect that there's one news I captured concerning the kidnapper in Loko, where they kidnapped some persons and the kidnapper within themselves, they dropped their weapon and they were fighting within themselves. If at all those kidnappers there, they were having this combat training, I think they could have directed there. That could have led them to escape from the bandit there.
The combat skills is important for every Nigerian, in which if the government would have been able to put up a platform for the sense for every Nigerians to be trained. Because if you go to the civilized world, like in China, in Asia part of the world, you see where its citizens there, they are well trained.
His suggestion was the best one, in short, because it's highly the time we Nigerians have to stand up for ourselves. It's time we join hands with the military personnel to fight this situation in our country. Because there may be a situation when the military personnel will not be there, and you met with these people on the way. At least if you have the skills, you can fight for yourself, fight for your children, and also fight for your country. Because it's highly better. The military personnel are trying. Even we too, we have to join hands together and fight these people, and fight these people and put end to this problem in our country. The suggestion of the Chief of Defense Staff or whoever is a right decision. If Nigerians can stand up to start training people to fight these people, I tell you, before years, all these things will leave our country.
The Nigerians themselves, they're supposed to look at what is happening in the society today. The society today, in fact, is all about those kidnapping, thief, and the rest. So we have getting to a level that we're supposed to know that education have come to play. Because all of these have to go with education too. You have to go with education. So for me, I look at it that right from the school, the NYC who used to go to training, they're supposed to include this in their training too. I think that is where we're supposed to start it.
The only way is to add more recruitment. The recruitment of the Nigerian army is small. So they add more recruitment so that we will get enough security to round all over Nigeria so that we can be defend and we be safe. But for we civilians, we can't defend ourselves except the security to defend us.
You should respond to it. If they bring it to your door, please accept it. If they bring it to the school, maybe school where your child is schooling, anywhere your child is, please accept it. It's a very welcome idea. I support it.
I report. Have you ever witnessed a crime or suspicious activity around you? Don't stay silent. Take action. You can now report crimes easily by sending videos to us on iReport. Record a video and a brief narration of the incident with the location and send to 0701 372 8007 on WhatsApp only. Your action could help save a life or stop a crime in progress. Stay alert, stay safe, be the voice, take a stand. iReport only on Third Eye Africa.
All right, welcome back from that break. You are still with us on Third Eye Africa TV, your #1 crime watch channel in Nigeria. Of course, here we are focused on crime prevention, investigative reporting, and community safety. And on the program today on Crime Watch, we have an expert, I would say, in the house with us to discuss the state of insecurity in the country with us, in the person of Gad Peter. Mr. Gad Peter, you are welcome to the program.
Welcome
Thank
to the
you.
program.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's just begin. We want to take a look at the roles of CSOs in the fight against insecurity. Of course, to find out if there are practical steps, proposals, bills that you are aware of pending, which is coming from your own perspective as a civil society, promoter, that is, that will help in curbing some of these issues we have raised in our intro.
Well, basically, the primary responsibility of every government, either in Africa or any part of the world, is to ensure that the citizen are well protected, their lives are protected, their properties are protected. And so when you look at it from that angle, you know that government have a responsibility. What the civil society have done over the years is to encourage government to do the needful. If you have good governance in place, probably some of this insecurity will not happen. And when we talk about good governance, what exactly are we saying? We're talking about social justice. We're talking about equality. We're talking about equity. We're talking about provision of basic amenities. We're talking about government being there for the people. And so when government is there and government is accountable, government is transparent, and government is doing what government need to do by prosecuting criminals, investigating and prosecuting criminals, by preventing the breakdown of law and order, by ensuring that our borders are working, it means that a lot of this insecurity will not happen. And so what the civil society have done over the years is to remind government of its primary responsibility. To say, look, it's your duty to do ABC. And so, and when we talk about civil society, let me quickly say, civil society is not all about NGO practitioners. The Labour Congress, the Nigeria Bar Association, the Medical Association, the Road Transport Workers, Student Union. I mean, all of us are members of the civil society, Kanje and I. And so when all of us are speaking out and speaking up, it means that we're putting that subtle pressure on government to do the needful. And I think this is what we've been able to do. This is what we're doing, and this is what we'll continue to do to ensure that we're reminding governments of its responsibility, and we're providing these early warning signs in community where we work to say, when you see something, say something, talk to the DPO, talk to the government. I mean, get across to stakeholders that matter to ensure that the issue does not get out of control. So this, in summary, is part of what the CSO has been doing.
Talking about security now, I want you to react to the statement by the Chief of Defense Staff, the President of Christopher Musa. He said that citizens now must go learn skills on the combat skills in order to defend themselves. What do you think about that? Do you think that's the right approach in tackling insecurity?
Well, the duty of care is yours. Whether you're traveling, you cannot sit in the car and the driver is recklessly driving and you're applauding him. You cannot be in a house where fire is burning, then you say, I'm going to sit and die and wait for government to come and quench the fire or fire service to come. What's your own responsibility to ensuring that your community is safe? Your responsibility is to ensure that you do not harbor criminals. A lot of the communities where people have been attacked, a lot of communities where there have been crises, there are insiders. There are people working with these criminals. And so what is our own responsibility as citizens? Part of our responsibility is to ensure that we have a safe and secure community. And so what the Chief of Defense Staff or Chief of Army Staff is not far from the everyday reality. That as you travel the length and breadth of this country today, I tell you that every community have community neighborhood. In terms of guard, in terms of hunters, in terms of mbanga, in terms of neighborhood vigilante and all of this. Because it has clearly become a reality that government does not have the capacity to protect all of us. And we cannot sit down and allow people to kill us every day because we're waiting for government. Have government been able to protect the borders? We have over 1,000 plus porous borders around this country. And how many persons is government going to mount? So citizens have a responsibility. Citizens must work with government. I think this is why people are agitated and demanding for state police. Saying that, look, we need to be part of this security apparatus. But again, even if you're not going to be part of the conventional security, you have a role to protect your house. You have a role to protect your community. You have the role to work with the security to protect your state. And I think this is a clear call that we need to start with.
Okay, I'll just take you up on that since my colleague has rightly talked about what is coming from the CDS. Like in the news today, CDS is just almost everywhere. He's talking from all sides. He's just, talking about insecurity. He said something very instructive, that terrorist funding operation, terrorists, they are funding their operation with gold that is coming from Chief of Defense Staff. And that he didn't stop there. He also went further to say that the DSS and the NIA are, investigating, politicians that are, responsible or funding, that are tracking them for funding of this banditry. And you can go on. And he also has talked about the issue of, having, this illegal mining as what is responsible for insurgency. He mentioned that in the news yesterday, and even made that was also coming from the police at some point, that illegal mining is part of what is responsible for terrorism in Nigeria. How would you react to that?
Well, I think there are several factors responsible for terrorism in Nigeria beyond illegal mining. Illegal mining is one. Purification and fabrication of small arms is two. The issue of farmer headers is three. We have the issue of gun and criminality. Human trafficking and all of these are part of the challenges we have. But let's zero down on illegal mining. Now, there's been contestation between the federal and state government over the issue of mining rights and mining sites. For example, in Plateau State, I'm very much aware that the governor had come out clearly because of the high rates of crime and criminality, the fact that underage children or children are leaving school to go for mining activities, to say that, look, in my state, I don't want mining to happen. Okay. But we've heard people saying that, look, you don't have the authority to make that statement. There is a mining is under the federal government exclusive list. So it's the federal government that need to make that kind of comment. Now, assuming that is true, the federal government can still not be crying that mining is a problem. Because if you go to every state and you're able to map out the various mining points, all you need to do is to secure that place and say that nobody is going to mine there. So why is the government not able to protect and safeguard those mining ponds? Are we saying that the key mining area are more than the population of the people? Are we saying that the key mining area are more than the length and breadth of this country? The answer is obviously no. If you go to every state, there may be 100 miners or mining activities going place, but maybe the key place where the mining may not be more than 10. So what's the work of the civil defense? Because by the Nigerian law, the civil defense is supposed to protect infrastructure.
Absolutely.
And so if mining is a natural resource that is creating problem, then we need to deploy the civil society, the civil defense there to do their work, support them with police, support them with MOPO, if need be, put the military there. So I think we need to move beyond we are investigating. We need to move beyond governments on top of this situation. We need to move beyond we're tracking. This incident we're talking about has been going on for such a long time. Absolutely. At this point, we should be saying that, look, these are the proactive measures we've taken to prevent this, to mitigate this, and to stop this rubbish from happening. If people are saying that in Zamfara is because of mining that we're having criminal activities, why is the mining still taking place? Who has the mandate or the authority to stop that mining? And so we cannot, in the same country, we saw a governor that went to the presidency to present a goal, what do we call it now? To go back to the president.
Absolutely.
How did the state got involved in it? And I remember people crying that if the state is involved in this mining, will you allow state to be involved in petroleum products in other parts of the country? So you see, we sit where we create problems for ourselves. And when the situation gets out of control, people take the back seat, pretend they don't know the issue, and then push blame to other people. And this is where the civil society keeps coming, that we're reminding of this kind of history, and we're demanding for clear action from authorities to say that, look, don't encourage what is not right. And we need to stop this and nip it in the bud at the right time.
So talking about your activities of your foundation, recently it initiated a project in Edo State that is aimed at enhancing the efficiency and functionality of the criminal justice system. It also partnered with the Nigerian Police Force in supporting the second phase of a citizen-centered policing program aimed at promoting better public engagement and police accountability. It also had a capacity building training in Lagos for police officers for enhancing policing skills. So what can you say is the experience so far and the challenges?
Well, just to say that I've resigned as Executive Director of Clean Foundation. I'm more into consultancy now. But again, part of what Clean and other organizations are doing is to enhance the capacity of the justice system administration as a whole, to ensure that the police, the judiciary, the prisons, and every other person that is involved in prosecution, either the EFCC, the ICPC, or the NDLA, that we work within the ambits of the law. That once you have a document that says that, look, this is what we need to do, let's all ensure that we're doing it. Now, part of what we've discovered over the years where you have impunity, where you have brutality, is because people have documents they don't read. And so what we're saying is that, look, if there's a police act, how many policemen and women have taken time to read the acts? What exactly is the act saying? If there's a criminal administration of justice in Nigeria, how many of us have taken, including the two of you here, my good friends, have taken time to read, to say that, look, this is what the law is saying. That if you arrest me today and you want to take a confession from me, I need to have my lawyer there. Probably I need to have my religious leader there, or I need to have an elder in my community seated there. That you can no longer ask me to give any confessional statement without recording me or without a witness. That women can bail. And so these are issues that are out there. How many persons are aware of such issues? And a number of persons listening to us, how many of us have taken time to read? The Nigeria Constitution, for example, has been with us for ages. How many of us have the Constitution in our phones?
Okay, now I'm going to take you on that because that just takes me to my next question I was just about to ask you. Do you think there is need to strengthen the Criminal Justice Act to help fight against insecurity?
No, the Criminal Justice Act is working. You see, in Nigeria, we love to make laws. The question is that the laws we have, how many of them are we using?
So
how many persons have implemented those laws and identified gaps? You know, we cannot wake up every day and keep making laws. In our laws, there are laws against terrorism in this country. How are we using it? The laws are there.
Okay.
And so the issue is not to bring additional law, is that, look, the one we have, are we using it well? If you use it well, then you can now say, look, there are gaps.
Okay.
You know, you cannot keep this person because we need more time for investigation. We need to froze their assets and all of this. Then you say that, look, we're going to demand for a change. So I'm not an advocate of every day we're making new laws. I'm an advocate that, look, let the law work for
implemented.
And for everybody.
Okay, no, I also know that you are a peace practitioner, a human rights activist, and a certified chartered mediator.
Yeah.
So what are you proposing as a panacea to this reoccurring, especially the farmer header crisis? I want us to take it one after the other so we don't model everything, because we have myriad of insecurity problems in Nigeria, right? We have farmer headers, we have the kidnapping, we have the terrorism. So now let's look at this reoccurring reprisals from back and forth. It's happening in Plateau, it's happening in Benue, it's happening in Kaduna. So what are you proposing?
I'm going to propose quite a long list of what needs to be done.
Okay.
I will start from the justice system. That we need to restructure our security architecture and ensure that we have a more responsive, a highly mobile, and security that is properly equipped. And we have a justice system that when people commit offense, investigation has been done, that the justice system ensure that those people are dealt with. A situation where people commit offense in Benue, in Plateau, or in Nasarawa, and you're moving such people to Abuja, and then 2 days later, 3 days later, 1 week later, these people are back. And then you say for lack of evidence, or for lack of due diligence, or lack of proper prosecution, it creates more problem. That is one. Now, the second aspect is that, look, if because of population growth, we can no longer, the land has not been increasing, but the population has been increasing. Years ago, I was a young person. Today, I'm a family person. The land around me has not changed. It's the same land I see every day.
Absolutely.
So if we're talking about population growth, then we need to be mindful of the fact that those cattle routes that were existing in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and probably in the 80s, have been taken over by farmers and by population. So do we want to now create another cattle route? Do we want to ask people to go back and acknowledge that cattle route? Or do you want to look at alternative to cattle rearing?
Which is what the CDS just proposed.
These are issues that we need to face the reality. That you can no longer be traveling from the north to the south to the west, year in, year out, and we're having this kind of conflict and we don't have what it takes to address the issue. Now, do people have respect for traditional institutions? In the past, when a cattle eats into a farmer's product, the cattle owner and the farmer sit down and negotiate. Now we have this zero tolerance for each other. The community leaders are no longer respected, so people don't listen to them. We have situations where people don't respect recognized traditional institutions. People come into a place and establish their own institution. Traditional institution. So we need to go back to the basis. We need to educate ourselves to have more tolerance. We need to educate ourselves to to dialogue and communicate more. But above all, where all of these things are not working, the law must be able to bite. You cannot have a law that is not working. Every day I wake up, I hear security agents say they repel criminals. People that come to attack and kill you are repelling them. We should be hearing that, look, you've either prevented it from happening, you've arrested them, you've neutralized them. But you see, when you have a country where people are testing the might of the state, then we are in dear trouble. And this is exactly what we're saying, that we must look at for multifaceted approach to this issue. There is no way you're going to take one and address. Because when you look at the farmer headers issue, the issue of reprisal attack or not, we've had argument from certain communities to say that, look, these headers are not known to us. Who is investigating that? How did they get into the country? The arms and ammunition that they have been using to kill people, how did they get it? How do they have the purchasing power? So we need to do a lot of intelligence gathering. And when we do this intelligence gathering, we need to do a lot of analysis so that we're able to solve these issues and go back to where it used to be before. Virtually every state of the federation now have one criminal issue or the other.
Absolutely.
In virtually every state of the federation now you have military presence.
Yeah.
Is that how we want to live our lives? How do we strengthen the police to do their work of internal security? Because now you have the military doing police work. Absolutely. So we need to get back to a drawing board and ensure that the police are doing that which they need to do. Because it's their primary responsibility to secure the internal security of the nation. Where they fail and the military intervene, they should do a quick approach and go back to their base. And this is exactly what we need. This is how a country should
Just
work.
like the incident that recently happened along Abuja-Lokoja way, where the military had an altercation with one of the tanker drivers, and he was manhandled, and the tanker drivers went to barricade the road. So I was talking to one of my guests on our newspaper segment, then that they need to look at the root causes of this confrontation, because if we don't have myriad of security challenges, the military have no business being on the road like you have rightly
And the military
out.
does not have the training of the police in terms of internal security.
Absolutely.
Except with the new happening, probably they are doing a lot of in-courses now to understand that, but that is not their business.
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about banditry now. What is your take on these states and negotiating with bandits? Because we've seen stories or heard about stories of states coming in negotiating with bandits on giving them ransom or this. What is your take on states negotiating?
I strongly believe in the American policy that we don't negotiate with terrorists. The question we ask ourselves this morning is that all of those negotiations that have taken place, where has it taken us to? There's a famous picture of the then governor of Katsina standing with a bandit then. Is Katsina free of banditry today? We've seen that effort in Zamfara. We've heard that a former governor in Kaduna said that he was able to negotiate to protect lives and properties of people in his state. He left that office with crisis in his hand in terms of the killings that were taking place. Of recent, we're beginning to have peace in Kaduna. So it means that paying these criminals do not work. And I'm one person that said that, look, we must not appreciate criminals in any way. So you mean, recently again, let me digress a little. Recently we had an issue in our airlines. And then we heard someone coming to say that, look, we've made those people ambassadors. Come on.
What's your take on that?
Come on. We cannot have a country where we reward criminals or people of bad characters. There are several hardworking Nigerians that are doing well that you can use as brand ambassadors. There are several Nigerians that are more than qualified today to be recruited into the army, into the police, into the navy, into the DSS and CBN and other places. But because they don't have that godfather somewhere, they are not there. And so you cannot have a country where you reward criminals. You cannot have a country where it's only sons and daughters of who that matter in the society get job, and you expect that country to be normal. It doesn't work that way. The fact that we're citizens of this country means that we should all enjoy some level of privileges and entitlement. Once you distort that, it means that you're telling people to go and form a gang, and because once they form that gang, you're going to reward them.
Absolutely.
At the inception of Boko Haram, there are people that went to join Boko Haram not because they wanted to join Boko Haram, but because of the impunity of the state. You know, because we don't have proper investigation, you just came to a place, you mob everybody, you shot those you can kill, you injure those you can, and people say, we are not part of this and we are suffering this, so why don't we become part of it?
So what's your take on the issue of repentant terrorists being rehabilitated and even empowered?
Well, I don't
Or even
think,
recruited into
I
the
don't,
security
I don't
architecture?
think that people that have killed and destroyed places can repent within 6 months and you accept them into the system. That there should be a program that takes up to a year or two. I tell people, if somebody slaps you once, he can slap you a second time because he has
Absolutely.
tested the ability to slap you.
Yeah.
We've seen how people were said to have repented, were back to the society, and they ran back because either the society did not accept them or they see that there's no life for them. So I think it's a process we need to encourage, but we need to do it in such a way that we're not hurting those that are victim of those people. Victim of those people in the sense that if someone kills a family member of yours and the person is coming back and he's saying that government have forgiven him and the person is not coming to seek for your forgiveness, I don't think that's real forgiveness. Because we cannot live in the same society.
Yeah, because someone was there was a school of thought that was asking this question, that if you are saying you are rehabilitating and rewarding or empowering repentant militant or terrorists or bandits, what have you done to the families displaced, those in the IDPs? And that takes me to the question, because I also know that you are a gender expert with he for she, we call them. What do you think is the situation of those women and children that have been displaced by these terrorists in the IDPs, especially the female folks, which you also, have a voice for? How do you think we can help support? Is there a special support you are canvassing for women? Because women have their issues. Talking from their monthly cycle and all of that, having been in the IDP, what do you think the government can do to actually help these people, especially the female folks that have found themselves in various IDP camps across the country?
Actually, my PhD is on gender and conflict, and so it's a comfort zone for me. And I dare to say that whenever government is going to take any action, you must mainstream gender into it. Mainstream gender means that how is that action you're taking? How will it affect a man and affect a woman, either differently or in the same way? And so when you go to an IDP camp is not only about providing food. It's not only about providing shelter. But women have peculiar need about their menstrual cycles. There are women that their menstrual cycle comes with pain, not just because they need a sanitary pad. So how are you providing and taking care of that need? By the nature of the biology of women, they are open to infection if the place is not. A man will just stand and pee 2 meters away and he can move on. So what kind of toilet facilities are we providing to ensure that we're accommodating those women needs? So basically, even when you come to the issue of insecurity, most often when we're having conversation around peace, women are not on the table. But when you look at several conflicts that have happened in Nigeria and several parts of the world, women are most often the victims. Because it's them that we're worried about their children. It's them that are not wearing trousers and they cannot run quicker. It's them that by nature has not given them permission or availability or strength to be able to run like men. So most often when there are attacks in community, out of 10, probably 6, 7, 8 are going to be women. Then the other 2 are going to be elderly persons with young children, maybe one of a young man thereabout. So it means that when you're having this conversation, women need to be at the table. Women need to be at the center of those conversations to ensure that you're hearing their opinion, whatever design you're doing, you're factoring women into it, and you're ensuring that you're protecting them.
Let's look at monitoring and holding government accountable. As a civil organization expert, what do you think? What are the challenges when it comes to monitoring and holding government accountable? What are the challenges?
Well, the challenges are several. Governments across board don't want anybody to hold them accountable. And so when that process starts, they fight back. They try to blackmail you. They try to say whose son is that or whose daughter is that. His father was a former politician, so he cannot speak. Oh, no, he's from this part of the country, so he cannot speak. No, he's a Christian, so he doesn't want a Muslim president or governor, so he cannot speak. No, he's a Muslim, so because today is a Christian, or today this person is Hausa because today the president is Yoruba. So people trying to define you and label you, and they don't want you to speak truth to power because they think the person there. So the consistency of the Nigeria society itself is a problem. And so to address this issue is that, look, it doesn't matter who sits there. Good governance is good governance. If today the roads are working, Are they going to say that because you are Yoruba, you cannot go to Wuse Market? Or because I'm from Benue, I go to Wuse Market? The answer is no. If Wuse Market is safe, it's for all of us. I don't know whether there's a filling station today that the right is for APC member or PDP members. So if the system is working, whether you're a card-carrying member of a political party, whether you're from the southwest or not, we're all going to enjoy or suffer it. So I think we need to reduce this attempt to blackmail people because your friend is in government, your uncle is in government, then you now say this person does not like our people. But again, this is because we don't have a template that suit everything. And this is because even within the sector, you have people that have divided their energy over time, and all of this have created problems. So I think it's a work in progress. We're not yet there, but we are not far from there.
All right. We, for the past 25 minutes or thereabout, we've been engaging Mr. Gad, or Dr. Gad rather, Peter, for on issues that affect us as a nation, with special interest in the insecurity that is ravaging the country across the length and breadth of this country. Insecurity is not only peculiar to the northern part of the country, but it is more prevalent here in terms of terrorism, banditry, and the likes. And across the country, we know there is kidnapping, there is militancy in the Niger Delta and the rest of them. But what is the way forward? How can we get out of this as a nation is why we are here at Third Eye Africa TV. We are not done yet. If you are just joining us, you have missed a bit of it, but the remaining half of it is where we are going to go into just after this break. So don't go away. Stay with us on Third Eye Africa TV. We'll be right back.
I report. Have you ever witnessed a crime or suspicious activity around you? Don't stay silent. Take action. You can now report crimes easily by sending videos to us on iReport. Record a video and a brief narration of the incident with the location and send to 0701 372 8007 on WhatsApp only. Your action could help save a life or stop a crime in progress. Stay alert, stay safe, be the voice, take a stand. iReport, only on Third Eye Africa.
Okay, welcome back. This is Third Eye Africa TV, your #1 crime watch television in Nigeria. And we've been in the studio on this program, Crime Watch, on Third Eye Africa TV. And we still have our guests in the house and experts in security and conflict management. And we've been discussing the insecurity across the country and perhaps the way forward out of this myriad of problems that we are confronted with as a nation. And we welcome you back from that short break, Mr. Gad. Let's quickly look at some of you are a strategist and leadership expert. And there's this conversation that have been going around about restructuring, constitutional reforms, and the rest of them. Do you believe Nigeria needs a brand new constitution? Let me just put it straight like that to you.
Well, the constitution we have presently was a product of the military. And the constitution, they say we the people. How many people were consulted? So the Nigerian constitution is not 100% perfect and it's not 100% faulty. But definitely there are rooms for improvement, especially on the rights of ethnic and religious minority groups. I give you a quick example. If you go to Benue State today, since the emergence of the state, Noe Domaman has been the vice chancellor of the state university. Noe Domaman has been the speaker of the Benue State House of Assembly. I don't want to talk about the governor. And the same in several states. In Kogi, until the miracle happened, and the Okene and the Ibira people through the former governor and then his successor happened, the minority were not recognized because the majority were taking over the whole place because in court they say they are majority. If you go to Bauchi State, for example, where you have the former speaker coming from Tafa Balewa area, Bogoro and Das, the fact that he was a former speaker, he may not ever be able to become a senator because in court he's a minority. And so we need to have a constitution that recognizes that minority have a right. And this is why, as of today, we're talking about proportional representation. We're talking about a national assembly where women must have a space to function. Because in Nigeria, women, despite they have part that they have the population, they are minorities. How many women governors have we had in Nigeria? How many women deputies have we had in Nigeria? The only woman speaker that came at her, they didn't allow her to stay because people feel she's a woman. So the Nigeria constitution must be flexible to accommodate the interests of groups that people think they don't have the right to existence. If you go to the Doma area, the EJD too are saying that, look, we want to be deputy governors of Benue. We want to be senators. So how do we accommodate that? And if you go to several places in the Niger Delta, you know, there are people that people think that they are outcasts or minority and they don't have a say. So a country cannot, we are more than 60 years now. We cannot be having this kind of conversation. So the constitution must recognize that the issue of quota system, the issue of catchment area, the issue of settler indigenship, the issue of citizenship need to be clearly defined. And you need to do it in such a way that people have a say. Now, if you go to an issue of admission, a boy in one particular state must score up to 250 in JAM or any other exams. Somebody with 2 points from another state will get admission. The boy from another state doesn't have it. How can you have a country where you have geographical zone? Every other zone have 60 states and one other zone have 5. I mean, come on, that's not justice. That's not equity. In the same country, people from one part of the country will commit an offense. You say, give them amnesty, give them peace. In another place, you're locking someone in prison for more than 2 years, 3 years going. Is that justice? Is that equity? Is that fairness? So the country need to, you know, if you want to move forward, you must come with equity and with a clean hand. That you're giving everybody a sense of belonging. That seated here today, I don't need to be the son of anybody. I don't need to have a title to my name. I need to just be identified as God, but I have equal access to every other resources like every other person. But when that is not the case, then there's a problem. Because again, look at the flight issue. 2 people acted almost in the same way. One was sent to Kirikiri, the other went to his house, drinking ice cream.
Okay, so you have raised a lot of issues around the constitutional reform that we need now. Do you belong to the school of thought that talks about rotational presidency, whether at state level?
No, but today I don't need to belong to any school. Is there no rotational presidency?
Yeah, but it's not constitutional.
But it's working.
But it's not constitutional.
And people know that it's working. So why don't you now make it a law?
Okay, so you are proposing
of course I am.
Constitutionalize
of course I am. There is no part of the country that have the monopoly of knowledge or ideas. And if that idea is not good, why are we respecting it?
Okay.
Jonathan did not win his election because people felt that he was overstretching the time and the zoning arrangement.
Okay.
As of today, people are saying, look, it's Peter Obi that need to go, so to say, and he's going to do one term rather. Atiku is there, but people are not talking so much about Atiku because they say that, look, the South have not finished their 4 years. They still have a 2 years plus 4, 7 years left. So it's an unwritten arrangement. And this is what we're saying, that this unwritten arrangement is working for the good of everyone. Now, when Tinubu came to contest election, a lot of people from the North supported him. And their argument is simple, that Buhari just finished for 8 years. We need to allow this to move on. Despite the good effort that was put by Alhaji Atiku, today Tinubu is the president. And a lot of people supported him, not necessarily because of his past record, but because they think that this power should shift. The same thing for Peter Obi. Otherwise, in the North, traditionally there are certain places that should have gone to a northern candidate. And so these are what we're saying. That the people of Igon in Nasarawa State deserve to be or have a position to be governors.
So let's talk about
the people in Kaduna. It's part of the reforms.
Yeah.
Because we cannot be talking about isolated reforms. Reforms is all about change that make the country work.
Absolutely.
So if you're sitting here today and you cannot be a manager because you're a woman, is that fair to you? That is reform. So reform is holistic. You cannot zero down reform. And you see, this is exactly the problem we have in Nigeria. People want to pick one thing and work with and pretend the other is not. All of this complement.
So when we talk about restructuring, this is the restructuring we should be talking about that you just mentioned now.
Nigeria is, I think, this is going to sound very funny. I think we need to go and sleep for like 2 months, not doing anything.
Okay.
Then when we wake up, we now ask ourselves, what exactly is our problems?
Okay.
Let everybody just calm down.
Okay. So what exactly is our problem?
The problem is man-made, woman-made. It's our problems. The problem is created by us humans. There's no single person on the street of Nigeria that does not know the solution to this problem. The issue is that do we want to find solution to it? Do we have the political willpower? Do we have what it takes to do it? The answer is no. People look at primordial interests and other interests and refuse to address issues. So these are the challenges.
So talking about our reforms now, policies when it comes to security, do you think it has been effective enough?
There's room for improvement. There's room for improvement.
Meaning it has not been effective?
I'll take you on this
There's
last
room for
one from
improvement.
there, talking about security. I know you also have the issue of state police, but let me just take you on an example that just happened in Anambra State, where vigilantes went to Corpers Lodge and stripped ladies naked. Now, the issue of vigilante was given birth to as a result of the insecurity in the land. The Southwest states have been able to come together and reform their vigilante and legalize it to make it a recognized state law to have an Amotekun, for example. I think that is taking us to the issue of state police and the whole restructuring issue. Do you think the vigilante option, do they have legal backing that enables them to, even if you suspected criminal activities around you, do they have the right to take such action to, carry out operations like that?
No, the vigilante is a quasi-security arrangement. The vigilante are supposed to work with the conventional security or the accepted security in every local government or area. They are supposed to work directly under the supervision of the DPO. They are supposed to help arrest but hand over the arrest to the police. They don't have the right to investigate. And so, but in Nigeria, even Boys Brigade, Boy Scout, or not road safety, national, once people wear anything they call uniform, they become a law unto themselves. So this is why we need to constantly remind ourselves about laws establishing each of these organization, bodies or agencies or associations, that you must know your limits and you must be reminded constantly. You don't have the right to tie anybody to a tree. You don't have the right to flog anybody. You don't have the right to make life miserable or strip people naked. You don't have such rights. But again, when the system is not working well, those kind of people do what they want to do and then they do it with impunity because they think they are helping. This is exactly the kind of situation we had with the civilian JTF in Maiduguri. They came with good intention, but later a lot of them were doing things that were not appropriate. So we need to constantly remind ourselves about what is right, and we need to demand for the right thing to be done at all times.
So I think this earlier solution you proposed with the same thing that has to do with the rotational presidency being constitutionalized, instead of having this fragmented vigilante here and there, I think, why don't we just look at the options before the issue of state police?
Well, the issue of state police, it will happen. If it doesn't happen today, it will happen tomorrow. I'm certain, because the agitation is high. It may not solve all of our insecurity. It may not even solve any, but people want to test run it and see if it doesn't work, then they go back to what was working. But I think it's an idea that is almost here, and it's an idea that people want to test run.
Okay. All right. I think it's a good place to anchor it there with our wonderful guest in the studio, in the person of Mr. Gad Peter. And in the last close to an hour or thereabout, we've been discussing issues around security and insecurity across Nigeria. And of course, if you have joined us from the beginning of this show, you will agree with me that a lot has been said that the government needs to pay attention to as to the way forward in solving this problem of insecurity in our country today. And this is where we'll be anchoring it on the show today. Don't forget to always join us same time on this same station, Third Eye Africa TV. Like I said, we are the #1 in terms of crime watch, investigative reporting, and community safety, of course, is our priority on this channel. And we'll remain on this show same time, same station next week. For me here, Charles Agedo.
I'm Margaret Ogumesi. Thank you for joining us.